Hello everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome to another session of our Day One and Beyond series, where we take you through various topics and activities related to building out on Oracle Cloud. Our today's session is getting started with Oracle Apex, which will cover more about Oracle Apex and how developers can quickly develop and deploy applications. I'd like to introduce Taylor and Daniel as the main presenters, and with that, I will hand it over to you, Taylor.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining our session today on getting started with Oracle Apex. My name is Taylor Zhang, and I'm really excited to introduce to you Oracle Apex today. And I also have Daniel Hart with me to give us a demo. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Daniel.
Hey everybody, my name's Daniel Hart. I'm a part of the customer enablement team here at Oracle, and yeah, thanks for being here, and we're really excited to have you guys and get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Now let's go ahead and get started. So whether you're a seasoned developer with Apex, or you're just getting started with your cloud journey, my goal today is to help you understand what Apex is, how it works, and why it's such a powerful tool. And then we'll go ahead and move into a demo where we'll create a simple application where there's no heavy coding involved or required to create the application. And then we'll also explore some exciting AI features that you can utilize to take your apps even further. So by the end of this, I would hope you would have a clear sense of how Apex can resolve your problems within your organization. Let's start with a bigger picture. Why low code has become such a popular way to build applications. It has become such a popular approach because it helps teams move faster and work more efficiently without needing to write as much custom code to get started. And because of this, you don't need deep specialization in any type of full stack development. That means that more people on your team can participate in building the application and in the building process. And with less code to write, you'll spend less time debugging any type of syntax errors, and then you'll have more time to resolve your actual business problems. And it's also easier to maintain and update your apps over time, especially when your teams are growing and your business needs are changing. So overall, low code is about the speed, flexibility, and also reducing the complexity that can slow your teams down. Let's define what Apex actually stands for. It stands for Application Express. It's Oracle's low-code development platform built right into our Oracle databases. So that means if you're running Oracle database, whether that be in the cloud, on-premise, or even autonomous database, you already have Apex. And that means you'll inherit all the enterprise security, compliance, and performance that comes with it. Apex is fully browser-based, which means that you don't need to install anything to get started. All you have to do is log in, start building, and deploy your application, and all of this is done through a web interface. It's ideal for creating data-driven applications, things like forms, dashboards, workflows, reports, and even REST APIs. You don't need to know JavaScript or CSS to build any type of application. If you know a little SQL, that can get you pretty far. There's actually over 21 million applications that have been built using Apex, and the community includes more than 850,000 developers. And these come from different sectors, including finance, higher education, retail, or government. Many of these applications are really just forms, charts, tables, and workflows that are connected to a database, and that's exactly what Apex was designed for. Display or update records without needing to stitch together a bunch of components or writing custom logic to do so. At its core, Apex is designed to help you build useful data-driven applications. It handles the full stack for you, so then you can build responsive web apps that are deployable on your work desktop and mobile, and all on the browser. And you don't have to manage any infrastructure or configure front-end frameworks to get started. Second, you can help visualize your data and maintain it through data interaction, whether that be viewing reports, updating records, or routing any type of workflows and approvals that you have. And lastly, it's built with SQL users in mind. So if you're comfortable querying data, you can use those exact same skills to build interactive forms. You can build reports and workflows, and not need to learn a whole language. And let's be honest, building apps from scratch is so much work. Most of the time you're spending building it is figuring out how to get it to work. But Apex helps flip that model. It gives you components that do all the heavy lifting for you, and with a single SQL query, you can generate an interactive report. You can build dashboards, validations, and forms, all with point and click or simple settings. And that is because Apex is declarative. And what I mean when I say declarative is that you focus on what you're building, not how. So for example, you can say this field is required, and Apex will handle how to enforce that. So instead of spending time translating all your logic into syntax, you can focus on building the application. Now let's talk about who actually works with Apex. You can actually come across a wide range of developers. Someone in finance or operations, for example, who would know the workflow but don't exactly write code every day. Then you have your professional developers who might be tired of starting every application from scratch. Or maybe even a data scientist who needs to get a dashboard up and running but don't want to manage the entire stack. All of these types of personas can leverage Apex. And on the technical side, since it runs on Oracle database, you build through a browser, and ORITS handles the communication between your app and the database. So it acts as a translator, taking what the users do in the browser and sending that to the database and passing the results back. And all of this is done automatically. And so Apex is flexible in both who can use it, but also where and how you run it. What exactly can you build with Apex? Honestly, you're limited by your imagination. Some examples can be like fraud, financial detection dashboards. These can flag anomalies in real time. You can build hotel and guest management apps, which integrate bookings, preferences, and services. We've also seen Apex used for grant tracking in public sector, onboarding apps for HR. Back when COVID was breaking out, there was COVID-19 testing portals and even student performance dashboards. So if the app is driven by data and has a user interface, Apex can do it. And if you needed some more inspiration or see what other capabilities Apex can build out, you can visit Built with Apex. It's a community-driven site geared towards showcasing what others have built using Oracle Apex. Now let's talk a little bit more about what tools you actually get within Apex. Your four main ones are going to be App Builder, SQL Workshop, Team Development, and App Gallery. You'll probably spend most of your time in App Builder. This is where you'll build your forms, charts, pages using wizards and drag and drop. Then in SQL Workshop, you'll use for writing and testing your queries. You have tools to track your bugs and tasks within team development. And there's a visual workflow designer to automate your approvals and handoffs. And you can also create and consume REST APIs with RESTful services. If you wanted to learn more from examples, check out App Gallery. This will give you templates and sample apps to explore and get an understanding of how to build something. And as your Apex app grows, your team will probably grow with them. And that means collaboration will become more important and sometimes a little bit more complicated. So I wanted to mention working copy. It is a Git style collaboration that is built within the low code environment. So each developer can create a private working copy of the application. They can make changes to it and then test them in isolation. And once all the changes are made and they're ready to push them to prod, they can preview exactly what was changed and choose what to merge into the main application. So you can either merge everything all at once, or you can select specific components to merge into your main application. And while you're merging, if there are any conflicts that happen, for example, if I were changing page 20 and Daniel was also changing page 20 in a different working copy, Apex will highlight those differences so you can choose which one you actually want to implement. And before you merge, if you automatically create, it'll automatically create a backup so you can revert if anything goes wrong. So all of this helps reduce the errors and gives developers more confidence in making changes, and it also protects the main application from accidentally breaking, which is a great way to support multiple people working on the same application without getting in each other's way. One question we hear often is, can Apex work with the rest of our systems? And the answer is yes. Apex comes with over 100 built-in connectors that help you hook into your data platforms and applications that your team already uses. So you can connect to databases like Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, and you can also pull data from cloud data warehouses like Snowflake and BigQuery. And on the application side, Apex can connect to enterprise systems like Oracle Fusion, Salesforce, SAP, and even GitHub and Jira can plug in using REST and JDBC. So the point is, you don't have to rebuild your entire stack just to start using Apex. It's built to work alongside what you already have. Now let's talk about something pretty exciting, adding AI to your applications. We all know that creating enterprise applications get complex. They're hard to use, and when they're hard to use, people don't really use them properly or want to use them. AI features can help with this. First, it makes the apps more intuitive. Think natural language interfaces or smart defaults. This can help reduce the amount of support tickets, shorten training time, and help teams focus on improving apps instead of maintaining them. And it also makes your apps easier to use, so people will be more likely to use them. And instead of sticking with spreadsheets or outdated tools, they're more open to adopting the new system. And the great part is you don't have to be an AI expert to start adding these features into Apex. You can now create a fully functioning app just by describing it. So with prompt to app feature, it's kind of like a shortcut to get your app started. All you have to do is describe what you're trying to build in plain English, and Apex will put together the basic structure for you. If you already have data within your environment, it can use that as a guide with the setup. But if not, no worries. It'll even create the underlying tables for you based on what you describe. And this makes it a really approachable way to go from idea to working app without needing to manually define everything to start. It can generate data models, pages, and features based on what you need. And you can even tweak it with follow-up prompts. Another feature I wanted to mention was Apex AI Assistant. When you're working inside Apex and you need to write some SQL, sometimes you need help understanding some legacy PL SQL or figure out why something isn't working. And this is honestly the step that I would always get stuck on. But now you can ask AI Assistant for help. You might say something like, show me the average salary of employees by department, and the AI assistant will instantly write the SQL for you. And if you needed help understanding what a piece of code is doing, it'll explain it in plain English. And also, if you run into a bug, no problem. Apex AI assistant can help suggest a fix for you. So this really helps developers focus on what they want to achieve rather than getting stuck on how to write each line of code. So we've talked about how AI has improved development. You can also use it to enhance the experience for your end users. One feature is vector search, which lets apps search through documents or data using meaning and not matching exactly the keywords. So if someone were to ask a natural question like, show me the contracts that include international shipping, it'll grab all the relevant results, even if the words don't match exactly. Then there's OCI AI services, which are pre-built tools like translation, document summarization, or image recognition. These can be plugged into Apex apps without needing any AI expertise. And if you wanted to add a conversational interface, there's a Gen AI widget you can drag into your app. And this allows users to ask questions in plain language, and the app will respond using helpful answers about the data or processes. So let's recap what we've covered so far. Oracle Apex is a low-code platform built into Oracle databases, and you build apps in your browser without needing any setup. It's flexible regardless of your skill level. Whether you're a developer, data analyst, or a business expert, you can use Apex to build apps. And with Apex, you can build your apps quickly, securely, and with less code. And you're not limited to just your internal data. You can connect to APIs, spreadsheets, and cloud services. And with the AI built-in features, your apps can be easier to use and maintain now with natural language queries, chat widgets, and smart logic. So now that we've heard so much about what Apex can do, let's actually see it in action. I'll go ahead and pass it to Daniel to show us how we can create a simple application and enhance upon it with AI features.
Thank you, Taylor. So the way that we would actually get started by um, with Oracle Apex would be first by creating the actual Apex instance. So the way that we actually do that is you can see that I'm on the Oracle Cloud Console homepage. I'm going to go to the navigation menu, then click on Oracle Database, and then click on Autonomous Database. So when you click on that, you'll see all of the autonomous databases that you currently have created in this specific compartment. So just make sure that you're in the compartment that you want to be in. So I'm going to click on Create Autonomous Database. You're going to give it a name, give it a database name. Again, just confirm that you're in the compartment that you really truly want to be in and create this Apex instance in. And then you have the options of different workload types. I'm going to select transaction processing for this. You can select Apex, but for this example, we're going to stick with transaction processing. And then you also have the ability to keep this as an always free database. So that way you don't get charged for any of the resources. You can toggle this on, and then it does limit some of the customizability of the database that you're about to create, but you will not get charged for any of the usage. Next, you have the ability to choose the database version. So we have 19C and 23 AI. So if you want even more of the AI features like AI vector search and things like that, you will definitely have to go with the 23 AI version because it's only available in that version. But a lot of the other AI services that we're going to be covering today, they are available with the 19C version of the database as well. So just something to be aware of when you're considering which database version you want to use. The next thing that you would want to do is set up your admin credentials. So by default, your username is going to be admin, and then you just give it a password, confirm that password, and then finally, all you really need to do is just define your access type. So we're going to leave it as secure access from everywhere. This just allows the users with the database credentials to access the database wherever they want on the internet. That's not the safest thing. So in a production environment, you might want to use an endpoint, a private endpoint, but because we selected the always free option, that is not an option for us at the moment. You have the ability to add a contact email for like notifications and announcements, stuff like that. Um, we're gonna ignore that for now. And then all you would do is just click on create right here, and then your autonomous database will start to be provisioned. So after your autonomous database has been provisioned and you click on your autonomous database, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see the Apex instance session, and then it will see the instance name as well. So if you just click on that and then click on launch Apex, it'll launch the Apex workspace. So this is the login page. When you first create your autonomous database and your Apex instance, you'll be brought to this login page, but it'll look slightly different because instead of your workspace name, your username, and then your password, it will actually ask for your admin credentials, and then you'll sign into the workspace using your admin credentials. So when you sign into your workspace using your admin credentials, you'll actually be brought to this screen instead of the one that I just logged into. So the first thing that you would want to do that you've logged in with your admin credentials, once you're on this screen, you will click on Manage Users and Groups, and then you will just click on Create a User here. So you'll see all the users that have been created in this workspace. If yours is brand new, you should have no users set up. So just click on Create User, give them a username, add their email address. All of these are optional. You don't need to put first name, last name. You can, completely up to you. We recommend sticking with the default schema, and then just have a password for the user that you want to create, right? And then just click on create user, and then it'll all get created. And then if you sign out of your instance with the admin credentials and then sign back in with the user that you just created, that will bring you to this page when you log in.
Wow, the setup was pretty fast. So then how do I get started with my first app? I need to start with data, right?
Yes, yes, that's correct. So with Apex, there's actually a few ways that you can bring data into your application. So the way that I'm going to be showing you is that we actually have a bunch of sample data sets for you to use whenever you want inside of Apex. So if you go to the SQL workshop and then utilities, and then you come to sample data sets right here, we have tons and tons of sample data sets for you to use. So we have data on countries, custom orders, um, employee and department data, HR data, health updates, project data, and like task spreadsheets, right? For this example today, we're going to be using the project data. It's already been loaded up, but I'm going to show you how we would install it. You just click on this install button, make sure that it's the right language and it's the same schema. Click on next, and then you'll see all of the tables that they actually are going to create um, inside of your Apex workspace. So I'm not going to click install dataset just because I have already done this. I'm going to go and actually show you the object browser so you can actually see all of the tables that we have in this workspace already. So if I expand this, you can see that I have EBA projects, project comments, milestones, tasks, status, task links, and to-dos, right? So if I were to click into one of them and show you the data, you can see that there's just, fictitious data in here that we can use to go ahead and start building our application. And then, let's say you had a similar type of data, you can always just change where the data is being pulled from inside of your application after you've already built it. But this is a great way to kind of get you off the ground and have some data to play around with.
Ah, okay. And then do I need to set up my AI servicing as well before we start building the app?
That's a great question. And yes, you do. So the way that you do that is if you go back to the home page and then click on the app builder, you'll see this workspace utilities button over here. Click on that, and then you'll see all of these options. In the top right hand side, you'll see generative AI. So when you click on generative AI, you'll see all of the generative AI services that are already set up and ready to go inside of this workspace. If you don't have any, click on create. And then the first thing that you need to do is select your AI provider. So there's the OCI Gen AI service. There is OpenAI, which is the company that hosts all of the GPT models, and then we have Cohere as well. So if you wanted to use OCI Generative AI, just give it a name. You can leave the static ID as whatever it is by default. Give it a compartment ID. So the compartment from your your cloud console. Same thing with the region, and then you can leave the model ID or change it to whatever you want. We have documentation. If you go to our documentation, you'll be able to see the different model IDs that are acceptable here. This is a great model if you wanted to use it, but you have the ability to change it if you so choose. Um, this button used by App Builder, you want to make sure that this is toggled on so that you can actually create your applications using natural language. So in the slides, Taylor was showing you that we have the ability to create applications actually just by natural language and prompting the AI model that you're talking to. And it actually can do that, but it will only work if this use by app builder toggle is on, right? So you can actually have multiple generative AI services at the same time. So I'm not sure if you saw when I logged into this page, I had three of them. You can have multiple that are initialized at the same time, but only one of them can be used by App Builder at a time, right? So it's very important that the one that you want to be using for the App Builder is actually toggled on. So there's this would be the base URL. And then finally, the last thing that you have to do is just create your credentials. So you have the ability to create new or add one that's already been there. If you don't have one, you probably don't have one, so just create a new one. You'll go get your user ID from OCI. So the way that you do that is back in the OCI console. If you click on your profile and then your email, you can see here is your OCID. So you will just copy this and then paste it right in here. And then you have an OCI private key. So the way that you get your OCI private key is on this same page. If you click on tokens and keys, you can see all the API keys that you've created. You can click add an API key, and then you'll be able to download your PEM key files, and then you can have a public and a private. Download your private file, open it up in a text editor, and then you'll get your private key. So I have a dummy one that I have already created, and it looks something like this. So you would just paste that in there. You will get your tenancy ID, and then you'll get your OCI public key fingerprint. So your public key fingerprint is just this. It'd be one of these fingerprints. Just copy it, and then you'll paste that in here as well. And then you'll just click on test connection, make sure everything works. And then once it works, you can just click on create, and then you're good to go.
Cool. So then can you show us how to create an application?
Yes. So the way that we do that, again, we're back here on the homepage. Come over to the app builder and then click on create new. So I do want to point out that you can see all of the different applications that are created in your workspace. As Taylor mentioned in the slide deck, you can have many different applications within one workspace. So that's one thing to note as well. To create a new application, you just click on this create button. You can give it a name here, and then there's a bunch of different ways that we can actually use to create an application. So you can use the Create App Wizard, create an app using generative AI, which is what we're going to be doing. You can create app from a file. So if you upload like a spreadsheet, so a CSV, Excel file, XML, or JSON, something like that, you'll be able to, the Apex will pull out the data from that application, similar to the data sets that we uploaded, and then it'll create an app based off of the data that was uploaded. You can create an app quickly from SQL. You can use a Fusion integration. You have apps that we can browse in the gallery, and then you can actually copy an existing app from that already exists inside of this workspace. But what we're going to be doing is using generative AI to create this application. So it opens up our Apex Assistant, and you can see that it gave us a quick message. Let's create an app together. Describe the app you want to create, including the data or tables it will use. So I have a prompt ready to go. And the prompt is create an application with projects, milestones, status, tasks, to-dos, links, and comments. The project dashboard page should be a cards page, project list, project tasks, project task to-dos, and project task links should be interactive reports, and milestones should be an interactive grid. Also enable all the features. So you could just have your prompt be this first line and the last line. The only reason I included this These couple lines is just for added control over how I want the application to be built. I want specific pages to be of a specific type. So that's why I specified that here. But you guys have the ability to completely control which page is of which type and how you want your application to look for yourself. So I'm going to send that message. And you can see in just a few seconds, this is the recommended schema from our AI assistant on how the application should be built. So it has the project dashboard page, project list, milestone overview, task explorer, the to-do tracker, the link overview, the comments panel, and status management, right? And then it also enabled all of the features like I asked it to. So you also have the ability to, go back and forth with this, and maybe you wanted, instead of this to be a form, you wanted it to be a classic report or something else. You can go back and forth, and it will update your application based off of all of the prompts that you're having and the conversation that you're having. And then once you get it to a point that you love it, you really think this is a great place to start building your application from, just click on Create Application, and then you'll be brought to this page. And here you can actually edit a whole host of things. You can change the name of the application. You can change the icon, the color of the icon. You can upload your own icon if you want. You can change the appearance of your application. So we have different theme styles. We have Vita, Vita Dark, and then Redwood. And then you can change the navigation styles as well. You can also add more pages if you feel like this doesn't suffice. You can toggle any of these features on or off, but they turned them all on because that was what I asked for in my prompt. Just take note of some of these settings down here. You have your application ID, the schema, just make sure it's the same schema that we've been using through this entire time, how we want to authenticate users, the language, and then there's some advanced settings that we can go into, but that is outside of the scope of what we're doing here. And then we're just going to click on Create Application. And it usually takes up to a minute to create application. So it is fairly quick to go ahead and create everything. Alrighty, perfect. So our application is now created.
Wow, it created so many pages for us. Can you walk around the app and give us a little tour of what was all created?
Yep, 100%. So it's really, really simple to start running your applications. You can see that this first button right here is Run Application. So if I click on this, it'll take me to a new tab. This is just the user that we created that we're signed into this Apex instance with. So it'll be the same credentials. So it's just same username, same password. Click sign in. And now you can see that we are in the application. So this is our homepage. It just has all of the tasks, all of the projects in this that's currently in our data set. If we go to different pages, we can see just a list of all the projects, all of the milestones, all of the tasks that are necessary, all of the to-do lists, the link overview, the comments panel. So I guess users can come in here and create comments, status management, and then there's some administration stuff as well. So, yeah, this is how our application looks right now. There are tons of things that you guys can change and edit. So yeah, it's completely up to you how you want to modify your application.
Wow, so it created a bunch of pages based off of kind of the prompt that we gave it to set it up.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I did.
Wanted to enhance this with some AI features. How would I do that?
That's a great question. So what we're actually going to do is go into the back end of the application and show you how we can go ahead and do that. So I want you to just take a look at all of the different tasks or the projects that are currently going on in this that are currently exist in this data set, and we're going to be filtering it using our AI assistant in the code editor. So just a quick way to go to the desired pages in your Apex application. This toolbar at the bottom, it has a whole bunch of features. So this can take you to the home page of the application. This tells you what page we're actually on in the app from the Apex workspace. So I'm just going to click on this and it'll take me directly to be able to edit this page. So if I click on this project dashboard, you can see that there's a SQL query that is pulling all of the data from the tables and displaying it on the front end here. So if I wanted to use AI to adjust that, then I would just open up the code editor, and then you can see that I have this Apex Assistant button up here. So this only appears after you've created and set up your Gen AI service, which we did earlier. So because it's here, I can just click on Apex Assistant, and then you can see that it opens up a new chat and it brings in the current SQL query as context for this conversation. So if I wanted to say something like, um, I want to filter all of these results using to only include the projects that have develop or IT. So I'm going to click, oh, sorry, not okay. I'm going to send that message. And then in seconds, it creates gives me a very useful SQL query. I can either copy it and then paste it, or I can just click on insert and it'll automatically insert it. Before running it, I should validate that it is good. The validation was successful. Click on OK, and then save it. And now if I go back to the application and I refresh the page, you can see that um, a lot of these projects will get filtered out. So if I click on refresh, you can see that we filtered it for only the projects that have the word develop or IT inside of the names, right? So that's just a quick way that we can do that in we're using our code editor, and the code editor worked right now for SQL, but I do want to mention that it's not just SQL that it works with. It works with SQL, PL SQL, HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. So if at any point in any of your applications you're using any of those languages, our AI code editor, our AI assistant inside of the code editor is going to be able to assist you with some of that code generation. The next thing that I want to show you is actually probably my favorite AI feature that we have in Apex. So let's say you wanted to have an AI assistant directly in your application and have your users, your end users, talk to that AI assistant. The way that we would do that is by adding, there is a built-in dynamic action that we can use to accomplish this. So what I want to do is I actually on this project task details page, I want to have an AI assistant pop up here. That way I can get more information about my tasks and see how I can get more information, stuff like that. So you can see that this is page 6. I'm going to go to page 6 and then I'm going to add a button here in the bottom of on the bottom of this page that can just open up a new chat window. So if I click on page 6, you can see that it now takes me to page 6 in my application. And what I'm going to do is scroll down to the buttons section where all of these buttons live. And then I'm going to create a new button. I'm going to name it AI Assistant. Instead of a text button, I'm going to make it an icon. And the icon that I'm going to use is the robot, this one. And that's all I need to do. Here, if I right click on the button that I just created, and then I create a dynamic action. A dynamic action is just something that you specify where when something happens, some type of action happens, right? When there's some trigger, some action occurs because of that trigger, and they can be different based off of what happens. So this dynamic action, I'm going to name it Open AI Assistant. And then I want to leave everything else as default. And then I'm going to go to this true state. And when it is true that this button was clicked, I want to, I want to change the action instead of show. I want it to do show AI assistant. And then all I have to do is modify the service and select the service that I created, the generative AI service. And then you can see that we have a whole host of other things that we can edit about our AI assistant. For now, I'm going to leave that the same and then just show you how it looks right now in our application. So if I were to close that and open it again, you can see that we have a new button here. I wish this toolbar wasn't in our way, but you can see that we have this new button here that has our robot um, icon on it. So if I open that up and I can open a new chat window. So all I've done is created the AI assistant. I haven't added any context to this assistant, so it doesn't actually know any of the data that I'm talking to. So if you were to create an application or if you were to create an assistant like this, you would need to add in context. But I wanted to show you how this looks without any context. So if I were to say, tell me about this task, it won't really understand what I'm talking about because I haven't added any context, right? So it says, sorry, I need more information. Could you please provide additional details, right? I haven't added any context to this AI assistant, so it doesn't fully understand what I'm trying to do. So the way that we do that is inside of our in our editor. If you come to this initial prompt down here, you can have your initial prompt be something um, an item or a JavaScript expression. I'm going to select item. And the item that I'm going to be using for this is the description. So if I click on save and then I go back, you can see that the context that the chat starts with is going to be this description of the task. So now the AI system will understand what task, what the description of the task is so that it has more context to be able to help me better. So if I say, tell me about this task, now it has a lot more context to be able to help me and be more useful. So you can see it gave me a very, very useful response. If I say something like, give me a step-by-step guide on completing this task. So what it should do now is just break the task down to its most simple level and give me a step-by-step guide on how to go about completing it. And yeah, see, they'll plan and gather the requirements. So it tells you exactly what you need to do to accomplish this task step by step, right? Um, and another thing I want you to just be aware of is if the context that you add can be super long, right? So if you have maybe you don't like the fact that this long paragraph is here, you can actually edit what you can edit the text in this box. That way you can make sure that the context was added without actually seeing the long message. And you do that by changing the displayed message under the initial prompt. So if I say something like context added and then click on save, if I open it up again, oh, sorry, I have to close the page, open the page. And then if I open it back up again, you can see that it now says context added, which basically, it's basically the exact same thing as before. However, instead of taking up 4 or 5 lines on the screen, it's just a simple context added that gives the user comfort that the context actually was added to the conversation. So if I say, tell me about, sorry, I can't spell, tell me about this task, then it should give me similar information as it gave me last time because it does still have the same context. It's just not displaying this on what the context was on the front end. And there's probably a lot of times when you're having a conversation or you don't want your users to be able to see the specific context that was added to the AI assistant. And then there's a whole other host of things that you can mess around with. So you have a system prompt, so it can maybe answer in a certain way. You have a welcome message that the AI will say, so, hi, how can I help you? So if I click on that, you can see that the first message that it comes up with is the welcome message that you created, right? So there's tons of different settings that you can tweak here. I definitely advise you guys to, get into the weeds and try a bunch of different things and see exactly all the things that you can tweak here. But yeah, this is how you would add in an AI assistant directly into your end application for your users to interact with.
Wow, the AI features are so cool. I know they're definitely gonna make my life so much easier.
Yeah, 100%.
So if I'm just getting started, I know we mentioned earlier in the app gallery that there's like some templates or sample apps. Can you show me where those are and how I can utilize those?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you all at all have any trouble with implementing any features or even just getting started and you want a jumping off point, we have in our gallery, we have a bunch of different sample applications, starter applications, stuff like that that you can use to kind of give yourself a template of what you want to build and then just build from there. So whatever you want. So we have if you want more information on how to set up charts in Oracle and in Apex, you can do that. How to set up the calendar correctly, document generator, dynamic actions, email authentication, uploading and downloading files, using maps, REST data services. So this is a big thing in Apex as well. Taylor did touch on it in the slide deck, but the same way that we added in our data to the backend using our sample data set, if you didn't have any data specifically uploaded into your Apex instance, you could just tie it to a bunch of different REST services and display all that information inside of your application as well. Um, we also have workflows, approvals, tasks, stuff like that, vector search. So there's tons of different sample applications that you can use to get started. If you wanted to learn even more about Apex, we do have tons of different live labs about it. So live labs are just hands-on labs and workshops that you guys can work through on your own time and get a better handle on how to use some of these features. So this is the Live Labs homepage. We have Live Labs for all of our services, especially Apex. So Apex actually has tons and tons of Live Labs. So there's a lot of different examples on different things that you can do. So there's converting a spreadsheet into a cloud app. Um, there's the smart project management with AI assisted development. So we touched on some of the AI assisted development features here in this presentation. You can have Q&A interface. You can have maps with spatial. You can have chatbots. You can AI for healthcare. There's tons of different live labs that you guys can go through and actually get your hands dirty and start developing AI or Apex apps. And a lot of these are what we call green button. So you'll be able to actually, even if you don't have your own OCI tenancy, you'll be able to use it in a cloud environment that we provision for you. It's not free or it's not available forever. The green button environments do expire, but it gives you tons of time to be able to jump in there and mess around and create your applications and stuff like that.
Hey Daniel, can you open that converting the spreadsheet live lab to show them how exactly
Yeah.
sandbox environment is visible there? Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see that this is what the page looks like. By green button, this is when you click on this start button. There are two options to run this live lab. You can run it in your own tenancy. So all this would do is just bring up the instructions so that you can follow it step by step. And then if you click on Run on Live Lab Sandbox, that's the sandbox environment that gets provisioned for you, and you can go ahead and run you can run the live lab without using any of your own resources. But yeah, thank you everybody. With that, I'm going to pass it back to Taylor and Olivia to just kind of go over a bit more resources and just close the session today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Daniel. So to get started, you can actually try out Apex in our Oracle Cloud free tier. And I would also recommend that you visit apex.oracle.com. This is where you'll find all information on Apex. You'll be able to take some online free courses, read documentation, or look at tutorials. And also all of our new updates and announcements can be found here as well. And if you're building out Apex and you run into issues, you'll also be able to find like office hours or forums where you'll be able to post your questions and the community can help answer and resolve your problem. And with that, I'll hand it over to Olivia.
Thank you, Taylor. And this is just a few other links for learning more. So as Daniel mentioned, there's live labs if you want to get more hands-on experience with Apex or some of the different tools in OCI. It's a great way of doing so. We have some cloud learning paths here, Oracle Learning on YouTube to explore. I also want to mention, so we have our one-to-many Day One and Beyond webinar series here. But we also do have our personal training. So this is more customized one-on-one training that covers a variety of different topics in OCI. We also do have our quick shot live labs. So this is more one-on-one, going over some of the different labs in live labs. There also is Code Innovate. So it's a 5 half-day online event where Oracle engineers help you code develop a use case. So if you do want to explore some of these programs a little bit more, we did list the emails at the bottom if you want to learn more about these customized trainings. And in addition to that, we do have some other Day One and Beyond series. So if you want to focus on analytics, hands-on, cloud native, security, or did you know, I highly recommend that you explore some of these other series. And then lastly, our next session will be hybrid search with OCI PostgreSQL on June 17th at 10 a.m. Pacific. So we hope to see you all then.